Hello YouTubers. I am taking a video of my Hygain Hytower that I just put up about 3 weeks ago. This is going to be a quick video. I kind of wish that I would have taken it while I assembled it. In case anybody's ever contemplating getting one of these, it was kind of a mess putting together. You know, the instructions, trying to decipher these bolts, you know, it was the biggest struggle. There's so many bolts on this thing, but I don't know, I just ended up finally just putting things together the way I thought it would go, and it all worked out good. So it's up, and it's been up. Let me explain this a little bit to you. So first of all, my grass is high, and I'm a little embarrassed, but I know it. I'm doing this on purpose. I don't want to mow the grass yet because I got ground radials that I've laid, and I just kind of want them to settle down a little bit more. So I'm kind of not mowing back here on purpose for a little while. But anyway, this all started with a 3 by 3 by 3 foot hole that I dug by myself. And yeah, it about killed me, but I did it. And it's what Hygain recommended, so I did it. I dug it. Had the concrete truck come. When the antenna got here, I put the base in there and set the base, got it straight and everything, and concrete truck got here, and I had to bring it all back out here in wheelbarrows because they couldn't get up in here. So that was another pain in the rear end, which I wasn't happy about. But anyway, I did it. It's behind me. So I've got the base. I got the base leveled out. This time I sprung for the DX Engineer. I'm sorry there's grass everywhere. I came out here and weed eated a couple weeks ago, and I never cleaned it up. I sprung for the Hygain, or not the Hygain, what is it? The DX Engineering plate, radial plate. The last time I made one, I had the money. This time it's like, man, you know what? I'm just going to spend the money and get this and make it easier. And it was a professional piece. So if I get down here a little bit closer to you, I wish I would have cleaned this thing up a little bit before I shot this video. But I stuck this piece of landscape timber in here so I could make an ugly ballon. That white cord you see there, I just ran that with the coax. It's just wire, in case I ever wanted that. A bee or something just landed on my face. I just ran that with the coax in case I ever wanted to add something in the future, like put some other antenna or something out here, or maybe connect a tuner to it. So it's just, the wire is just spare, and it's going into that PVC pipe. So far I've got 4 ground rods drove in. You can't see them, but on each corner there's a wire, copper coming off to the ground rod. So I've got one there, one over there, and one over there. And I've got a lot more radials that I still need to run. I've got a lot on there now. I got a lot more that I'm going to run this fall or winter when the vegetation dies out, because like I can't get up in there right now. That's just a mess over there. That's not my property, but that property's abandoned. But I'm going to go ahead and run the ground radials there, and I got to clean this up out here. So I'm going to get out here when all this dies down and run some more. That's, by the way, that's the box that this thing shipped in that you see laying there. I've never cleaned it up yet, so I'm just a little bit lazy. It just took the wind out of me assembling this thing by myself. That's just a tower that was donated to me. I'm going to put that up later. But anyway, let me discuss this thing. For the most part, it was pretty straightforward. I had trouble kind of understanding the 20 meter and the 17 meter on there, but I finally figured it out eventually. So the 80 meter, which you can see all the way up at the top, comes through, and then it turns into a wire, and it goes all the way down. So you see that copper wire right in the middle, comes all the way down like that, right to there. And the 80 meter works sensationally well. I'm comparing this to my, if you watch my other videos, I started with a Hustler vertical. The Hustler was been a good antenna. In fact, that's why I bought this, because the Hustler was such a good antenna. I said, well, if the Hustler works that good, then this thing's got to be good. And the Hustler vertical, the 80 meter portion on that thing, I'll just be blunt with you, it sucks. It's just about worthless. It's just a mobile whip up on top. They just throw it on there to make it a 5-band antenna, I guess. But if I was going to give advice out on the Hustler, I'd say buy the 4B TV. Don't waste your money on the 5, because I could never hardly get a hold of anybody on 80 meter. They always said they could hear me, but barely couldn't make out who I was. This thing runs circles around it on the 80 meter. But get this, the 40 meter and the 20 meter is about equal with my Hustler, if you can believe that or not. I got them both on an A and B switch, and I've done a series of tests, and I've switched them back and forth, and you cannot tell the difference whether I've got it on this one or the Hustler. So I've got mixed emotions about this antenna. It's a grand antenna. I mean, it's big, and it's, you know, stout and clean and new and everything, and I mean, I like the way it looks. But I have, you can see that Hustler back there right behind those bushes. You can see it sticking up. I've got $220 tied up in that Hustler, not counting the ground rods or the coax that I ran. And I've got, well, what do I got tied up in this? I'd say off the top of my head about $1,700 by the time I factor in the concrete. And that's not including the labor, you know. That's just in stuff that I had to pay out of pocket with the radio plate and everything. So I'm not going to go as far as to say as I regret this antenna, but if I can back things up knowing what I know now, to be honest with you, I probably would not have put this up, simply for the fact that I have something over there that works almost as good. The results are just about almost the same on every other band. Hate to say that, that's just in my testing. Now maybe this winter this will get out better. Maybe when I get more ground radios laid, which I doubt, but I'm still going to lay more anyway just because I can. But this is about equal on everything else except the 80. Now 80 meter on this thing is just beautiful. I make contacts all over the US on the 80 meter portion of this antenna, and I could not do that with the Hustler. And if I had any complaints, first of all, Hygain didn't ship this thing for 2 weeks, and I finally got a hold of the dealer that I purchased it from, and they got a hold of Hygain, and they said, oh, we're sorry, we must have made a mistake and missed your order. So I was wondering why the heck it was taking so long for this freaking antenna to get here, and I would have had it within a couple of days after I ordered it, come to find out. So I waited about 2.5 weeks instead on it. So I think that's pretty crappy customer service when somebody buys an expensive antenna like this to just forget about it and let it fall between the cracks. And the only other complaint that I would have is the instructions are so outdated that they have revised this base now, but the instructions still have the old style. And from what I understand on EHAM, they changed this over years ago, so they can't even update the instructions. That kind of, you know, throws me off a little bit. You guys can't keep up with the instructions. So I spent the first hour looking around trying to find out where my missing parts was before I finally figured out that they changed the base around on this, and they gave me no instructions on this base. I figured it out, but I finally, you know, I got it together. It took me about a day and a half of putting this together. It was the dead of the heat out here in July, and it was really hot, and I suffered with the heat, but I got it together. I figured it all out. If I was going to say the hardest part of putting this thing together was trying to figure out the 20 and the 40 and all that, trying to figure out how them go together and how them went up. I just didn't, the instructions were a little bit confusing, but you know, if I can put one of these together, anybody can. And my wife and I lifted this up by ourselves. I almost had it up by myself, and she saw me and come running out here and helped me, and we put it all the way up, and it's been up ever since. I use it every day. This is my main talker. As a matter of fact, this Hustler, I'm using it for my pan adapter only. So I do not have because they're so close in performance that I've got this dedicated to the pan adapter now, the Hustler, and then I talk on this one. I don't have these antennas run on separate radios. That way, if I've got an old radio in there that doesn't have pan adapter capabilities, well, I don't need it, because I've got that Hustler already hooked up to the pan adapter. And then I got this here Eagle. Is that a Gap Eagle right there? I picked up off of a friend of mine. That antenna is not that good. I don't recommend them at all. That thing there, it's only 40 and below or above, and it doesn't perform as well as this Hustler or this one. It's just a spare antenna that I got hooked up to the bedroom in case I ever want to go in there and try to talk. So anyway, I know this video was just quick, but you know, some people probably just wanted to see what one of these looked like, and you wanted to see it close up. So I watched a few videos on YouTube before I bought this. I'm going to add this to the collection of videos on there so you can see it. These three pieces of tower went together pretty straightforward and simple. Wasn't much to it. Down here on the base, you got that bracket that goes on the inside to kind of give it some extra strength. I haven't soldered this yet. They say you're supposed to solder. That's some kind of spider web on there. That's not solder. I still got to get out here and do that yet. Solder that copper, but it's pretty stout. So I've heard that a couple people have had trouble with these insulators, and I hope that I don't have trouble with them. I get very little wind back here in my backyard. I'm pretty well protected around here with a bunch of trees, so I'm hoping that I'm just not going to have a problem. Now these trees probably work against me with my signal, but I can't afford to have somebody come out and cut down this forest just so my antenna will work better, so I just deal with it. But I've had some pretty good winds come through ever since I installed this, and this thing doesn't move. I've come out here and looked at it, and the tip of it, you know, sways a little bit in the wind, but this thing is pretty stout. So I was going to guy wire it at first, but I decided I'm not going to right now. I'm just going to go ahead and let this thing stand for a while, and I'm just going to use it. Get some more pictures. I'm shaking around, sorry. This isn't easy. They just pieces of tower, 3 pieces of tower, and 2 big bags of bolts. And these little rods, you had to figure out how them went together. I put them together wrong the first time. I finally figured them out. Oh, another thing, I measured everything according to what Hygain had in their instructions. These little antennas on the side, I measured them, and they were bingo right on. I do not have an SWR problem at all with this antenna. I was flat, resonant on every band. Never had to come out here and adjust anything. When I was put it together and I was done. So that's the good thing about it. Okay, maybe one of these days here, when I get this cleaned up out here and I got more of a chance to use this thing, I'll do a better video. So anyway, Hygain Hytower, they're still selling them. They're still making them. They've been making these for years and years and years. I got mine through R&L Electronics. He gave me the best price on it. Didn't have to pay any taxes. Okay, hope this video helps somebody. This is KD9 NTD wishing you 73.